מקשר את עצמי בשיחה זו לכל הצדיקים האמיתיים שבראינו, לכל הצדיקים האמיתיים שהכניעו עפר קדושים אשר בארצנו בעפרת אבינו הקדוש צדיק יסוד אוילו נחנו בן כוחוכמה בן נחמן בן שמחו בן פגה זכות עם יוגן אבינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. This week, Bezrat Hashem, we're going to talk about the aspect of the guf and the neshama of a yid, the compatibility, how they fit together, and how we can tap into the higher ruchnius that seems out of our grasp, and how we give the neshama its food, quote unquote, and how we get closer to Hashem in a deeper way, on a deeper avoda, on a deeper level, but also to see the most wondrous things of how Hashem created us, how everything fits, the guf and neshama are just so compatible with each other. Bezrat Hashem. The Rebbeinu Shalom created this world for one simple reason. A very, very, very difficult reason to understand, and we won't understand until a later point in life, but to the full extent, we can understand a little. The Eibishter created this world not for himself. He didn't create the world for himself because God is perfect. You take a human being creates something, it's because he needs that thing that he created, or he does it for a hobby, but it's still because he needs the hobby, or there's always a certain reason. The Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't create anything that he needs because there's no reason. There's nothing. He's everything and he's nothing. You can't describe it. It's everything beyond. It's beyond wisdom. It's everything. Wisdom is all inside the Bri, all these things. It's beyond all that. The Rebbeinu Shalom didn't create this world for himself. It's bullshit. The Rebbeinu Shalom created the world for obviously the people that walk on the earth. The Rebbeinu Shalom created the world, Zok the Zera Kadosh and Mesil Sisharm, also the Ramchal brings Mesil Sisharm the beginning, to give good. To be mative, to give good. Rebbeinu Shalom wanted to give the Yidden good. What is this good? This good is obviously a ruchnius good. It's a spiritual good that we can't fathom, we can't understand. Just to give an idea that we can't understand, Ramban says, when we talk about Olam Haba, the pleasures of Olam Haba, he says, unbelievable, he says. He says you take 6,000 years, it's almost whatever it is, 5,775. Mitzvot Hashem until Olam Haba, whenever that's going to be. But take all the years until Olam Haba, from the beginning of Brias Olam, the creation of the world. Take every person that ever walked the face of earth, talking about maybe 100 billion, or if you take the math more or less, but a huge sum of people. Take them, each person individually. Take each individual and say, you're going to live from first breath till 120. You will have only pleasures every second of your life, pleasures of all sorts of pleasures in this world. Take all those pleasures of each person, of all the years, and put them all together, and it doesn't equal to one split second of what Olam Haba, the pleasure of once of Olam Haba. Now, the human being is just, are you joking? Like, how's that possible? What? The answer is because the one who created can create something bigger. And there's no limit to what he can do. And the Ramban says it's just a little bit, and it's probably much greater insult than that, even 1 second. So what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants to give good to us is we can't understand yet. Obviously each person in this life can taste things, not to that level, because our gun, as we said, is which Hashem hid, is what's going to be revealed, and was hidden because of Rishaim, wicked people are going to use it. But the point is, each person can tap into spirituality and feel the good, but nothing compared to what's really. Like the Gemara says, you want to eat on Shabbos, you have to prepare for it. What does that mean? That means that we're preparing now for the Shabbos meal, the Yom Shekulei Aruch Shabbos, full day of rest, where it's just pleasures. But that's why the Rebbeinu Shalom created this world. That's what the Zohar says, and that's what the Mesil Shem starts off. Tachas Abriya was, the Rebbeinu Shalom created this world to give good to his creations. So what the Rebbeinu Shalom did, but the Rebbeinu Shalom, how did he create this world? He created this world that we're not getting free gifts. What does it say? It says in the Gemara that the Rebbeinu Shalom, why did he create this world? Why didn't he just go straight to the Olam Haba? Because the Rebbeinu Shalom created this world because he didn't want people to feel that they're getting free gifts. Like tzedakah, you don't feel good when you get tzedakah. When somebody works for something, Oh, and do we work, each one of us, every single day? Especially when we're trying to work for the right thing. It's endless work. And we do get that prize. And it's a prize that it's not like, oh, a prize. It's something that we just explained, and it's much greater than that even. And just the fact that you with Hashem and see Hashem, and you become part of Hashem, much greater. These things we can understand. There's not even reason to talk about it. So then everything we're working for, all this silliness, everything we're doing, has tachlis and then Nisayin also, and helps us also deal with the Nisayin. And that's where Amunah comes in, Bitachon. Amunah is that Hashem is doing it for good reason, and even without schar, it's for my tikkun, but that's not where we're driving it. So what happened was the Rebbeinu Shalom created the world. He created Neshamas. Neshamas are completely ruchnias. You ask somebody, where's the Neshama? I don't know, I don't see it, because it's ruchnias. Unless you have eyes of a tzaddik who could see ruchnias, because ruchnias could also see. You could see through your seichel. It's a whole different speech. It doesn't. But Hashem created a neshama. Hashem took the neshama and put it inside the guf. Put the person, who's the neshama really. The neshama is the person. Put it inside a vehicle. Put it inside a nice Ferrari. Each person has to, everybody's grooming themselves and all these things. It's like they're washing their cars. Everybody's washing the Ferraris every Sunday. So people going in the mirror and combing and this and that. But on a real level, Be'etzim, the guf is it's a vehicle, it's a kli. It's a utensil for the neshama, it houses the neshama. And through that there's a bechira. We have a choice to pick between right and wrong. And that's when the Nisayin comes, and when we poilize and we decide, even though it's so tempting, the wrong, because if it wasn't tempting, it wouldn't be a test, obviously. And we pick for the Rebbeinu Shalom, that's tachlis lebriya. Because for that, then the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to give that good of tachlis lebriya, because it won't be, oh, I'm just giving, and we won't feel we just got, we worked for it. Now, so be'etzim, what we have here is something incredible. We have a mix of something spiritual and something physical made out of, like it says in the pasuk. It wasn't saying in the pasuk. It says that Rebbeinu Shalom took dust off of Ephraim and he blew ruach, which is the neshama, inside. So we see that the person is made up of a neshama and a guf. And we know the neshama is the main part, and after 120, the neshama leaves the body. Just like a person walks out of the vehicle to go to his destination, the neshama leaves its body to go to its destination, which is back to the Or Ein Sof, which is the endless light, infinite light of the Rebbeinu Shalom. In Kabbalah it's called Ein Sof, through the Tzimtzumim, and it goes all the way up to Ishtalshalos, where we said there's all the worlds, and it comes to its source. Now like this. To explain a little bit about how the guf and the neshama work together and how they're so similar, to show the incredible wisdom. Obviously it's not even this much of the wisdom of Hashem, but a little bit, just to go a little deeper than what we see in front of us, to understand how great the Torah is, and to get a taste of also Kabbalah on a simple level. So you see that there's so much, just endless. Because for Etzim, the Torah is the Chochmah of Hashem, which is Ein Sof. So we just said, so the Rebbeinu Shalom put the neshama inside the guf. Now, how do we give koiches to the neshama? Neshama really comes down lacking, right? It's coming to fix something. Each neshama has its tafkid. How do we do that? By two things. We call these two things mitzvahs haseh and mitzvahs leis haseh. The commandments that Hashem gives us in the Torah to do things like shaking lulav and putting on tzitzis, putting on Tfillen is a beautiful point, exactly. And then there's mitzvahs leis haseh. Don't break Shabbos and so forth. That's actually a mitzvah haseh, but mitzvah leis haseh is staying away from the negative. Don't kill, don't steal. But the mix of these two is really what keeps the neshama, what gives the neshama its tikkun and is like the food of the neshama. We'll explain. We'll explain in depth a little later what that means, the food of the neshama, because it is an aspect of food of the neshama. Now, really, if you look at the guf has how many? What's the famous thing? How many mitzvahs haseh are there? There's Ramach Evarim, connected what? There's mitzvah, right? 248 limbs. The guf, the body, it's a scientific fact, there's 248. Exactly connected the mitzvahs that give the sustenance to the soul. So you see already it's how compatible the Neshama and the guf is. 365, right? Is the gidon, the veins and I'm sorry? Sinews, yeah, exactly. What's the word?
I don't know.
Okay, there's the Ramach Evorm and then the Shesa Gidon. 248 limbs, and the Gidon is a vein. But again, also, how many mitzvahs of mitzvahs leisase? 365. You see exactly that. I'm sorry. Hold on. There's 240 loisase. Am I mixing it up? No. It's 248 mitzvahs, 365 loisase. Sometimes I get mixed up. And exactly to that, we see how the body is also, the formation of the body is the exact thing. So we see mamish how the neshama and the guf, they're exactly matim. They're fit, like a glove. Okay. What's interesting is, in Kabbalah is a huge aspect of that the world was created with 10 spheres, 10 levels. We're not talking about the 4 worlds that we spoke about, we'll speak about that soon. 10 levels, 10 midas, like the midas are, we'll speak about, we'll get into what the midas are, but the first 3 midas we're going to talk about now, and then the rest we'll talk a little later. The highest 3 midas the highest is Keter. Keter is the top. It's the crown. Why is it called the crown of Keter? Because Keter is on the head. That's Keter. Right underneath Keter, here's Keter, and then underneath there's 2 that come out of the one on the right side and one on the left. 2 spheres. One is Chochmah. Chochmah is on the right, Bina is on the left. And then we'll get to the other ones as the spheres get lower and lower. But the highest is Keter. Keter is above the head. Then underneath Keter, there's 2 other spheres that are a little lower. And what do you have? You have on the right side Chochmah, on the left side Bina. Now, in Kabbalah, the Mekubalim write that the way this world is formed is just a copy of the Ruchnius world. That means the world was created through Ishtalshalos. Ishtalshalos means it was like a chain. A chain. What happened was the chain, the exact setup in this Ruchni world, even the world underneath is less Ruchni, but it's set up the same exact way as this, just with less Ruchni. And then so on and so forth until we come to our physical world. That's what the Mekubalim say. And we spoke about it because what happened was the Rebbeinu Shalom wanted to create the world with the Ar Ein Sof. The problem is that Rebbeinu Shalom couldn't, because imagine, we'll take a mashal. Imagine somebody he has a small house and he needs electricity, and there's no circuit breakers. House will explode in 1 second. Lahavdil, if there was no ishtalshalos, if there wasn't a world after world after world after world after world, that the or was less, it's called the tzimtzum. In Kabbalah it's called the tzimtzum. Hashem he hid light less and less, because until the light was so small that on this world we're able to survive even with the or of Hashem, because it's on such a small level, because there's ishtalshalos and there's tzimtzum. But like we just said, because each world is a copy of the world above it, it's all built on the same idea. The setup of the worlds are all the same. But the last world is the weakest because this is the physical world. But obviously in the Ishtalshus, the Ruchnis, it's also set up the same way. And that's what we're going to come to say exactly, we're going to explain how. Be'etzem, we just said that, where's Keter? Keter is above the head, we said, right? What's underneath Keter? Chochmah Bina. So really, Keter is above the head, right, is the head. Chochma Bina, where is that in the physical body? What we're going to show now is that in the ruchnius worlds, how the spheres are set up is also set up in the person's body, the physical body. The Chochma and the Bina are in the two lobes of the brain. The brain is split up, and there's the right and the left side. The right side is the Chochma, and the left side is Bina. What's interesting is, in Kabbalah, the right side of the spheres is the half Neshama of the man, and the left side, which is the Chesed, and the Gvura is on the left side, the women. Question is, I don't know if the ones who are married, you know, usually the wife is the emotional one, and she's the one who's running around, and the man is the tough guy going to work. It seems the opposite. Not true. Gemara says, listen to this Gemara. Steht in the Gemara, a person who doesn't get married, he doesn't have his wall. Gemara uses a lashon of a wife as a wall. What does that mean? Why? If you ever realized, guy comes home from work, he has a project on his mind, all the married people know, and he says to his wife, and his wife starts pointing out this thing and this thing wrong with the thing, and she starts judging this thing, things that he never would have seen with his own eyes, and the wife in 1 second gets it and realizes, shows how his whole project is worth nothing. The wife holds the man. For all the women that feel the man alone in Torah, it's the wife's holding the man. The wife is the one that in the ruchnis and the gashmis. Steht in the Gemara that says that a wife knows the guest that comes into the house, not the man. There's a guest that comes into the house, the man sits and talks, the wife can know, when he leaves, the wife starts saying, did you realize this and this and this? And it's a mitzias. I'm telling you, it's amazing, it's a mitzias. Let me ask you a question. What was the wife doing the whole time? Serving, busy with the food, how? Because you know what the answer is? Because the wife is the gvura. The gvura, she picks up on the thing, she picks up. And also it says the wife is machzik, the husband, when it comes to Nisayin, the wife really is machzik, so she's the gvura, she's machzik. Also it says, these people, like, they do a lot of chesed, they go out and they get the phone call from the wife, they come home. The chesed, the right side, and the left side is gvura. So sometimes you need the gvura to come to the chesed, because sometimes it's more important that you're in the house with your kids, so you need your wife to wake you up, to come home. So the Chochma is the right side and the Bina is on the left side. So we have the Keter, we said the spheres, the Ruchnis is the top is the Keter, and then the two of the legs, not the legs because there's many more, but for now, the right leg is the Chochma, which is the man, and the Bina is the left, and the Bina is, and the right is the man, the Chesed, and the Gvura is the left, and we just showed how it really is like that. Now, obviously, it doesn't mean to say that the woman doesn't have any chokhmah and the man doesn't have any bina, but what's stronger in the man is the chokhmah, and what's stronger in the woman is the bina. Why is it like that? Because that's what the Rabban Shalom set it up. But just understand that even in our physical, so we just said that there's the top of the head, which is, and then the lobes in the brain are connected the spiritual. Like we just said, according to Mekubalim, it's all ishtalshus. Very good. Now, so really what makes up the top three spheres, which is, we just said Keter and Chochma and Bina, the head makes it all up. The Mekubalim call this Gar. They call these three spheres Gar because, why is it called Gar? Because it means Gimel Rishonos. The first three spheres, the highest spheres. So therefore, because the head is what represents in this world, the Hishtalshus represents in the higher worlds the three highest, that's why the head is on top of the rest of the body. Why did the Rabban Shalom create it this way? If the head was on the bottom from the beginning of the world, then that would be normal. Why is it this way? Okay, everything's for a reason. Because the rosh, which is, it holds the three tops, so memela, it's on the highest level, it's higher. And you want to see, it's unbelievable. You see how the higher world, everything fits in exactly to this physical world. Now, after these three, there's something called Tiferes. Tiferes is over here. If you would say, let's say, here's the Keter is over here, the two sides of the brain is Chesed and Gvura, then I'm sorry, is not chesed gvura, it's chochma ubina. I apologize, chochma ubina. And we say chochma is the man, which is chesed, because right underneath chochma, which is, it's the right hand is chesed. We know the right hand is chesed, is rachamim. And the left hand is gvura. The left hand is gvura. So you see mamish how bina leads into gvura, and chesed and chochma leads into chesed. So you see mamish, the man is chesed and the woman's gvura. Now there's a middle one, so there's keser and it goes like this. But in the middle there's one that puts it together, brings the chesed and the gvura together. Because we know the Rebbeinu Shalom created the world. How did the Rebbeinu Shalom create the world? It says the Rebbeinu Shalom created the world for midas hadin, which is gvura. So the world couldn't handle it, so he made a mix of chesed and gvura. How do they both work together? So there's something called tiferes. Tiferes is the next sefira which ties the sphere of chesed and gvura together. This tiferes is the chest, is the breastbone over here, the chest, which connects the hands, right? Because the hands are chesed and gvura and it attaches it. Where do we know more than this about the chesed and gvura? Avram Avinu. It says Avram Avinu was ish chesed. It says Yitzchak was gvura. Came along Yaakov was tiferes. Yaakov Avinu learned how to be mishalev, to make the mix, to the perfect mix of Avram, of chesed and gvura, to take the two spheres of chesed and gvura, put them together and bring it down and through the generations. So far we have, just to go it over because it's a little in depth, we have chesed, we have keter, which is above. This is the head we're talking about. The head is keter, and then the two lobes of the brain is, we said, the right is chochma and the left is bina, and the right side is man, left side is woman. I'm just repeating it just because for myself also. Now, after that, the hand, the right is chesed, because we said yad yamina is the right, is chesed. The left is gvura. The middle is called tiferes. After that, there's two legs. The right leg, the Kabbalim say, is netzach. It's called netzach. And the left is called hoid. We know these spheres also because when do we say a lot of it? We say by before Shavuos. Spheres Omer, right? Spheres, hoid, malchus, shavuot. There's two more spheres. We just said 8. The last 2 is by the Mokum HaBris. The bris itself is Yisoid. We know, why do we call Yosef HaTzadik Yisoid? Tzadik Yisoid Oilam, because he watched his bris to the highest levels when Ish B'Tifar, and says till today that whenever a person overcomes his Nisayon, it's because it has Yosef HaTzadik give koiches to the world till Mashiach comes, till we destroy this. That's Yisoid. And then there's one other sphere that's Malchus, which is the crown of the bris. There's the bris, and then there's the crown, and the Malchus is the crown. So we have, just to go over one more time, just not in Keter, right is Chochma, Bina, Tiferes is in middle, then we have Netzach and Hoid on the bottom, and then the bris is Yisoid, like Yosef HaTzadik, and on the bris, there's the other is Malchus. Very good. Be'etzim, what's interesting is that we spoke about, there's actually these 4 worlds. Besides the spheres, there's 4 worlds. What are the 4 worlds? We said there's Abiyah. Abiyah, the 4 worlds. Atzilus, which is the highest world. Bria, Yetzira, and Asiyah. Asiyah is our world. The Kabbalim explain that these 4 worlds each have some of the spheres. One of the worlds has 6 spheres, and the other 3 each have. One has 2, and one has 1, and one has 1. The Kabbalim explain also that in the 4 worlds is also the spheres will make up the spheres, and then it comes down into the shtal over here, and it makes up the person's guf, we just spoke about. What's interesting is, you might see that it's not even in the spheres. A person himself, you ever look at the body of a human being, the body of a human being is mamish like its own world. What does it mean it's like its own world? You ever realize the body is layered? You have the skeleton, right? Then you have the bones and you have the meat on top, right? We look at the whole world's like that. How do you build a building even? You have the foundation, then you have the first, which is the iron. And then on the iron you put the next thing, and then the next thing. How about the ground? There's rocks, and then there's earth on top of the rocks. In science, the rocks aren't on top. It's rocks that are machzik, and then it's on top, there's another layer. Everything, even the ocean, right? What's on the ocean? Underneath is the ground, right? Everything is murkav, it's layered. The man, and if you ever realize, there's 2 types of waters, right? There's sweet water and bitter water, and the men also. There's tears that are bitter, it's water, and then there's sweet, spit is sweet. There's endless amount of things, but just to show how the guf is really built on also, and this is all built on a ruchnius level of why it's more kav, because also neshama is also layered. It's layered and layered and layered. I'm just giving this a gedama because I'm just trying to show that the guf and the neshama are so similar from scientific, from Kabbalah, everything, that it's just pashit. You see how everything is mamash yad Hashem. Pashit, everything is yad Hashem. Okay, now, so just like be'etzim, we just said, just like the, so really the guf is the last of the ishtalshalos. What's the guf? It's after the neshama comes the guf. So just like we understand the guf needs energy to survive. How do we give energy to the guf? By food, by sleep, by all the other things, by eating healthy, by all these systematic things that are set up in the world, the way the Rebbeinu Shalom created the world. We need certain lifestyle in order to keep our body healthy. The neshama also needs that. Neshama also needs that. Neshama needs a healthy lifestyle. Because we just said everything is a copy, so whatever exists in the ruchnis, and we just showed how everything is. We showed from the Ramach Evarim, we just showed how all the spheres, and the neshama, everything also comes down into the guf. And we just showed how the guf is also built, that the skeleton, it's layered. And the neshama is also layered. There's 5 chalakim the neshama. There's nefesh, neshama, ruach, echai, yechida. It's just, everything is exactly the same. Nothing is uncompatible. It's all compatible to each other because it's all just one chain ishtalshalos. That's in the higher worlds. There's just one tzimtzum that make a lower the R. But the idea of the setup is all just, it's like taking a painting and taking the painting out of the original painting, but the original painting is there and bringing it down, but it's less of a color, lavdil. It's weaker. It's the same idea. It's just getting weaker and weaker and weaker from its source. And that's why the higher you go, the higher your world go, the higher the world, you get closer to the source. The more you know, the more you get closer to the Chachmas Hashem, everything and so forth. And that's what we're trying to do in this world, is to try to get to make the right choices, to try to get rid of this world, meaning the guf, as much as we can, to tap into the neshama, the next world, and all that, so we can get into more. That's what spirituality. I'm seeking spirituality. What does that mean when a person's seeking spirituality? He's seeking to reveal his soul. He feels his soul. He feels his soul's yearning, but he doesn't know where his soul is. I don't mean that physically. He doesn't know how to tap in, and he doesn't know what to do with her. He just knows what to do with the guf. But he's smart enough to know that whatever the guf needs, the neshama needs the same thing. But in the neshama's case, it's a ruchnius thing because each thing needs what it's made out of. Now, question is like this. So we just said that neshama also needs certain energy in order to survive. The question is, why does a person need to sleep? Why does a person need to sleep? Realize, a third of our lives, we're sleeping. We're in dreamland, you want to do Freud, you want to do this, what we're doing in sleeping, and what really is going on when we're sleeping. It sounds just like a good waste of time, you know? I don't know, come home, you have nothing to do, take a nap. You know, you wake up, you go back to sleep. Then you take another nap. You take a nap on the other side. And then you start deciding you should take a nap. So it's part of the program. It's one nice big program, life. You know, you're just deciding about napping, about taking your mind to a rest. But Hashem did create sleep. He created that we get tired. Why? Why did Hashem create sleep? What's the point of it? It's a waste of time. Now, but even more than that, what needs sleep? What needs sleep? If it's your neshama, let me ask you a question. If it's your neshama, neshama's ruchni. We know when you go up, after 120, there's no sleep, there's nothing. There's no concept, so it's not your neshama. Your guf we just said is a vehicle. A table needs to go to sleep. So why is one needs to go to sleep? So most people say it's my body. If your body needs to sleep, why doesn't the stone need to sleep? Why doesn't the table go to sleep? Why doesn't it curl itself up into a little, with its bunny and teddy bear? Like, why do me, you, and her, and him, and then, what does everybody have to go to sleep for? It's going to sleep. And what's the point of sleep is one question, and the second question is, what makes us that we need this sleep? Where does the need of sleep come from? So those are the two questions. what's the point of sleep, and where the need of sleep comes from. We just said it can't be from the Neshama, which is ruchni, it can't be from the guf, because the guf is just like a piece of stone. Stone doesn't go to sleep. It's up to Arizal. And look at Arizal says, not like what the world thinks. The reason why a person needs to sleep is because of his soul. His soul is tired. What does that mean his soul's tired? It's not tired what we understand tired. Obviously, because the soul is not tired, because it's a ruchni, it doesn't get tired. What happens is, throughout the day, the soul, the neshama of a yid, survives. How? Through the Or Ein Sof, right? Through Or from the upper world. But every so often in Saktardi, it's unbelievable chiddush, Tardi says it, so we take it as granted. The Arizal says that the neshama has to go back upstairs and recharge its battery So, why does a person have to go to sleep? It's not a waste. Because what's the point of life? The neshama and the guf, and to feed the neshama. So we can get that greater good. But if the neshama can't survive, then there's nothing. So the neshama has to go back up when we go to sleep. That's why when you go to sleep, it's like almost you die, 1/60th, because we'll explain why in a second. You go up, the neshama goes up, which means you go up, because that's who you are. And it recharges while the guf is down here. Question is, why can't it be when the guf is around? What do you need to? What's the problem here? It's up to Arizal, because if the neshama was still in the guf, and that's when it got its recharge of the Or Ein Sof, meaning it goes back up and it connects back into its source. But let's say connected while I'm up and I'm in my body, there will be an explosion. You wouldn't be able to survive, because the body, the chomer of the body, because Hashem didn't make a thing that the chomer is part of you, even though it's just a kli, but it is mashpia, and we just said why it's mashpia, because it's all one ishtalshalos. The guf is tied in ishtalshalos to the neshama, and therefore, if the guf was there with the neshama at the same time as it got his Or, it would be destroyed, and he wouldn't be able to survive. The guf wouldn't be able to survive, and the person wouldn't be able to survive, and he wouldn't be able to continue his tafkid in the life. So, memela, a person has to go to sleep. The Eibishter made the person get tired, which is something the neshama needs to recharge. It leaves the body, so therefore the body is not stopping it from recharging, otherwise it wouldn't be able, because the body would be destroyed, because the riboy Or, the too much of an Or Ein Sof, which is the ruchnis, would destroy the body in 1 second completely, and therefore it goes up. That's why we need to go to sleep, and that is why sleep is so important, and that's what needs sleep. It's the neshama, not the guf. Now, how does the neshama go up? If the neshama is the battery for the guf, the neshama goes up, then how do I survive down here? So the answer is like this. There's two answers. One answer is, if you look in Kriyash Mashal, what does it say? Afkid ruchi, on one of the psukim, that you gave me a picadon. The Rebbeinu Shalom gave us a picadon ruchi, right? Why did Rebbeinu Shalom say nefesh? Why ruchi? So Kabbalah Masbir that there's 5 stages in the neshama. We said this, right? The 5 are, we have neshama, we have nefesh, ruach, neshama, chai, yechida. There's 5 levels. 4 go up, and 1 chilik stays down here, which is the nefesh part, which is the lowest of the neshama, and that still gives sustenance to the body. So therefore, because of that, we could still survive. I did see once though, that in the Yerushalmi, if I'm correct, this was a while ago, bring it from memory, so I hope it's right. The Yerushalmi brings that somebody asked one of Tanoim, one of this Shiloh, when he goes, how does a person survive, how does the neshama goes up? So I think as Rabbi Yochanan says, a different pshat, he said that from up there, he doesn't say pshat as one, the nefesh is down here, the Kabbalim say that, and I think maybe a different, it's based on also, but he says, Rabbi Yochanan says, from up there, it's still mashpia light here. So what do you mean, it's when a person nifter, what's different? It's not mashpia anymore. The neshama doesn't give anymore, it doesn't give sustenance to the guf. Because in reality, what's the difference with the neshama is up there or down here, according to Rabbi Yochanan. From up there also it gives sustenance to the guf. But once the person's nifter, Baruch Shalom makes it that there's no connection whatsoever. But we're going with the pshat that they know that it's down here, the nefesh stays, and that's what keeps chiyus into the guf. What's interesting is, I wanted to answer a different thing. The reason why we have to go to sleep, forget about all the Kabbalah and everything, is because of all the pressures of life. That's what the Baruch Shalom, Baruch Shalom, Hashem. But Shalom knew that we'd have to take a nice slope once in a while, you know, once a day, twice a day, when it's hot, so a few times a day. We have to put down our head because our minds are just eating us up alive. Baruch Hashem. So that's the positive shot. But the deeper omic of it, we just said, from the Arizah, because the Neshama has to recharge, and it can't be while the guf is there, because the riboy or, and how the guf stays alive is because the nefesh stays inside while it's there. What's interesting is, by the way, Chofetz Chaim said, about 100 years ago, whatever, Chofetz Chaim said that all this technology that started from 150 years and on, he was talking about, in his times, Chofetz Chaim said, he was talking about the phone, for example. The phone, he said, what does the phone teach us? So the phone, it says in Pirkei, it says in Pirkei Avos, it says all over in the Torah, Oizin Shamas. Everything that a person does, the ear hears. So the telephone's there to show us there's such a thing that you could be in a different, not in the same room, and you're not hearing from a person directly. So lahavda, obviously it's on a much greater level, but there's such a mitzvot. Then what about also there's, you know, you could see television, there's cameras, all these things. What was the point of that? So it says in the Zaraka, it says in Zaraka, when a person is niftar after 120, he goes up to Shemaim, and they show him his whole life, like a video screen. A video screen comes down, obviously it's a ruchni thing, but a video screen, they see their whole life, they see it in 1 second, whatever that means, it's ma'al hazman. But the point is, another thing, ayin ra'ah. The eye sees everything we do. Hashem sees everything and hears everything. Over here, you could be in China, you could be by the kaisel. It's like you almost, sooner or later you're going to have to jump out of the screen of the cell phone and talk to somebody, you know. It's that crazy. But it's all in the last generation, because in the last generation to show us the mitzvahs, anything technology, every technology, the atheism, technology shows how great Hashem is. How's it possible that two wires put together can send a message? Where is in the physical realms and aspects can such a thing work? How does it work? The answer is a lot of things we don't know. And the Rebbeinu Shalom is above everything, and he gave us, like Rav Nachman says, Rav Nachman says that the Chochmah of this was always around. The Rebbeinu Shalom, in each door, specifically, according to Cheshvan, Rebbeinu Shalom sends it down to a specific person. The phone was around 6,000 years ago also. But the Chochmah of the phone, to a bell, was brought them. That's what the Rav Nachman says in Sichos around. But the point is, just so, the question is like this. So, where do we see today this thing about the going to sleep and the Neshama goes up? You ever realize? A cell phone. A cell phone. Somebody talks on a cell phone all day, at night. He puts it to sleep and he charges it. Right? I'll give you a better example. You know, sometimes you're in yeshiva, on yishtag, you're learning, or somebody's at work and he puts his head down for a few minutes, he wakes up, and he's in a different, he feels great again. Let me ask you a question. How's that possible? You need 6 hours of sleep. How's 3 hours? A little catnap help you? The answer is, according to the results, very simple. Because the Neshama, it's only based on what the Neshama needs. If the Neshama goes to sleep for 5 minutes and it got what it needs, so then you're refreshed. Because feeling refreshed is based on the Neshama getting its aura, according to the Rizal. That's what Tzaddikim also, Ramak says, one of the big Mekulim says that everything we say in Teva doesn't apply to Tzaddikim. Eating for 3 weeks, they don't have to eat, they don't have to sleep. According to what we just said, it's all simple. Because what really needs, what's the problem? You have to go to sleep to get to Ribu Or because of the guf. But Tzaddik Zunvatal's whole guf, so the Neshama could get while it's in the guf because the guf is nothing. So the guf is not stopping the Neshama because the guf is on such a level that he brought his guf in such a level that it won't be destroyed by the Or, so therefore they don't have to go to sleep. That's what I wanted to say, according to Pshat and Ramak. Just want to say one thing. So also you have to realize that sometimes just to get a few 1 second phone call in, you put the thing in for 4 seconds, you plug it into the wall. I was thinking it's mamash the same thing like going to sleep for a few minutes, you know. According to Chofetz Chaim, but it's true, it's mamash true, all these things. But I was thinking about also a beautiful thing we said about the Ribu Or can mamash destroy the guf. We spoke about this. Rav Nosson asked, we spoke about it also, Rav Nosson Abrasov asked, I asked a friend of mine, Akasha, it says that a goy who Shem Shabbos is chayv miso. He's chayv miso if he's Shem Shabbos, also it's Torah, the Rambam Paskins like this. For some reason I asked, what's up, who cares if he keeps Shabbos? What do we care? What's not gemino? So he says, Rav Nosson brings, says beautiful. Rav Nosson Abrasov says, it's not pshat that he's chayv miso, that the electricity is and we go and we shoot him in the head. The Shabbos kills him. Because a guy doesn't have the Torah and he doesn't have the Kli except Shabbos, the aura of Shabbos, which is so strong, he's just gonna boom, burn him. That's what Rav Nosson says. That's what Rav Nosson says. So the same thing mamash also, but also us to a certain level. Too much aura. Like we said, a house, you have to have circuit breakers. And Ruchnius also, everything is mamash, electricity, everything is mamash, a ishtalshalis, is mamash a copy of the Ruchnius world. Just to show you that there's a story with Rabbi Chilmi Paris, who's one of the Bali Taisvis, that one time one of his students went into his room and he saw that he was playing with lights and things. The story goes, Rabbi Chil told him, this is from much later generations from the end of times. He said he knew how to do electricity because it's pashut. Because somebody who knows the ishtalshut, see, it's Benjamin Franklin, came up because according to Reb Nachman, the Rebbeinu Shalom sent it down to a certain person in that door. But it doesn't mean that the previous doors nobody was able to understand and connect into that. Because it's all one big ishtalshalos, and it already existed in the higher world. So somebody with Bali Taisus, who was Ruchnis, he was in the higher world, he was able to understand and bring it down into ishtalshalos into a physical thing. Now, so we just answered about why the Neshama. So one aspect of the Neshama, just like the guf, you have to feed it, so too we just see Mamash Neshama. The Neshama needs its food. What's its food? That it leaves its guf and goes to a higher place upstairs, and over there it gets its Or Ein Sof energy, and we just explained all the different things about it. Now, interesting thing is, when it comes to the body, again, we're showing how everything is compatible. The body, there's two types of food for the body. That sustenance. I mean, by food, they use it in the rosh and the Sefirot. Food means sustenance. There's one sustenance, which is what we just spoke about. The body needs food, it needs sleep, it needs this. We just said the sleep is the Neshama, but food and other things. The other thing is a ruchni. A ruchni can think of also. Ruchni meaning you can't see oxygen. And that's much more important than food. Because 1 second without oxygen, you would die. Whatever it is. A few seconds, whatever the... So the guf, really, the body has two things. Two sustenance. Sustenance from that aspect, and the sustenance also aspect from oxygen, and everything in the body has to be working exactly. So, really the Neshama, the sleep part, that's really like the food. Where's the second part of the Neshama? Where's the second part of the Neshama that's like the oxygen for the guf? Then the Neshama is also the oxygen for the Neshama. Where is that? Now, Ramchal says like this. Ramchal says in Derech Hashem that the Rebbeinu Shalom created the two main things of the body of a person is the brain, the mind, the moyach, and the liv. The mind is thought, and the liv is feelings, hagoshes. Dr. Ramchal, what gives sustenance to the up here and to the heart and the mind? What gives sustenance? I'm talking about from the ruchni part. Mitzvahs, Torah and Mitzvoth. Now, the pshat is like this. The pshat is when the Baruch Shem created the world, he took the neshama. When he created a person, the first person, he took the neshama and he put it in the guf. So really, the Neshama felt suffocated in the beginning. Right? Then what happened was, as the person gets older, we see it, he leaves childhood, and the Neshama starts being shel on the guf. And then comes all the tests, and we have to see who's shel and what. If you ever realize, what's chinuch? What does a parent always do to a child? Not this is not good, this is not good. Because training a child is to learn how to that the Neshama is shelet, that she rules on the physical, on the chaymer. So that when a person comes to the older age, he's able to understand and he knows how to already, the instinct of taking the ruchnias and being shelet on the gashmis. That's why when a little child doesn't learn gemara and all these things, he isn't because the Neshama is housed in. But as it opens up and older, it gets being more and more because more chachma comes in and more chachma comes in. But the chinuch of a parent to a child is to teach the right and wrong, so that when he's older, he knows how to do the right over wrong, which is always the gashmis of the ruchnis. And even in the ruchnis, to do the ruchnis the ruchnis of the gashmis, and even in the gashmis, to do the ruchnis of the gashmis, like eating, that I'm eating so I can be able to get to ruchnis. Everything to bleed back to the ishtalshalos of Or Ein Sof Hashem. So that's what Ramchal says is really, so we have the second part. The Neshama goes up, the first part, the food of the Neshama is when it goes up. And the second part is, the oxygen of the Neshama, which we're down here, is when we're doing Torah and Mitzvoth. Because Torah and Mitzvoth is what gives the Neshama sustenance. Now, question is, how do the mitzvahs give sustenance to the Neshama? What shaykhs? Because I have to do a mitzvah, give sustenance to the ruchnias. What shaykhs? What's going on here? Dr. Ramchal says that this is where he goes into, we're bringing it back, where he talks about the heart and the mind. He says there's two main things of the body. They're the main avarim, he calls them, the limbs. Meaning limbs, it's the main parts of the body, the physical, the mind, which is thought, and the heart, which is feeling, hargoshes, feeling. Now, like this. What do we do in order to strengthen the mind and the heart? What is connected the rosh and the lev? Tfillen. Mitzvah's tefillin. Where does the rosh go? Rosh goes where? Rosh goes on top of the head. Why on top of the head? It's connected the moyach. It goes exactly where we say where the tinuk, where the soft spot is, because that's where the soft spot of a baby, because that's mamish connected the moyach. And why in the arm? It can't be on this side of the arm. It has to be on this side of the arm because it has to be on the right. If it's on the right side of the arm, then if it's not, then it's possible. You have to. I'm sorry, you're more because it has to be connected to the heart. Why is that? The answer is because it gives sustenance to the mind and the heart. The Tfillen gives sustenance to the rosh, Tfillen shorosh to the moyach, and Tfillen shel to the lev. What interesting is about Tfillen is that what's Tfillen? Tfillen shorosh has 4 compartments in Tfillen shorosh. What are these 4 compartments connected? The 4 worlds. Atzilus, Abiyah, which is Atzilus, Bria, Yitzira, and Asiyah. Right? Let's go back to something we spoke about. Remember we spoke about in the body itself also has 4 worlds? Why is there 4 worlds? Because we said that the 4 worlds, Abiyah, is each world is connected to one ice of Hashem. It's Yud, Kei, Vav, Kei. We said, if you look at the body is connected to those 4 worlds, which is those 4 ices. If you look at the body, the head, you look from the side, the neck and up is like the Yud. That's the Yud, connected Atzilus, the highest. What's after the Hey? The Hey is the 5 fingers of the hand. Because a hand is nothing without the fingers. What's a hand without fingers? No, the hand is for the fingers to use, Where's the Vav? The Vav is the 3rd world. Is the Guf, starting from the neck down, all the way down, it's a Vav. That's the 3rd world. The 4th world is what? Is another Hey, the left hand. 5 fingers on the left hand. The Guf itself makes up the 4 worlds, which makes up Yud Kei Vav Kei. But we said that there's a 5th world. We said there's a world that we don't even talk about because there's no even it's called Ak. It's the channel. It's like the tube that takes in the Ori itself and gives into the 4 worlds, and then you have this whole shtalshel. So we just spoke all about this middle thing. This Ak, middleman, as you would call it, Ki'ilu Lavdil. It's Olam Aruch that we can't even understand. We can't understand our own worlds, but. Where do we have that? Where do you have that on a person? Zaktim Kabbalah, Tfillen shorosh. Tfillen shorosh, where's the Olam Ak? They say in the ice, it's the above of the Yud, where it sticks out, the thorn that sticks out above the Yud. The Torah Yud has a little part that goes up, same thing with Tfillen shorosh. But the Tfillen shorosh, so that's Ak. When you put on Mitzvah Tfillen shorosh every morning, the Mitzvah Tfillen shorosh is you're being mechaber the 4 worlds that's made out of you go into the world of Arin Sof of Atzilus. I'm sorry, not Atzilus, of Arin Sof, which is beyond Ak, which Ak connects to. But in Tfillen shorosh alone, there's also 4 compartments connected to 4 elamis. And then above that is the box, which the whole Tfillen itself, that is the Yud. So not just in the Guf, but in also the Tfillen shorosh, because what the Tfillen shorosh is, it's being mechaber, the moyach, to the 4 worlds. And so is the Tfillen shel yad. The Tfillen shel yad is being mechaber, the lev, also to the 4 worlds. What we have is over here something incredible. You see that Tfilin is not just a simple mitzvah you put on. Tfilin is something so huge. Now, just to explain a little bit, when we, this is incredible. There's a big Mekobel, his name is Rabatzri, he lives today with Shlita. He said, I heard over from him, that he said he saw from old Sfarim and Kabbalah, that I guess it's not on the market, they know that even the name also Shakai, Shin Daled Yud, is also in a person's body. How? When you put your hands up like this, your 2 hands in the air and your head, that's a Shin. Where's the Dalet? He says, Dalet is when you put just one hand out on one side. That's Dalet. And the Yud, he said, is the bris. Is the Yesod, is the bris, is the Makam of bris. It's the Makam of Yesod Tzadik, Yesod al Yesod Tzadik. Just interesting that Yud Kei Vav Kei and Shakai, everything in the guf, the two hands up with the head is shin, one hand out is the body's like a dalet, from the hand out and then down, and even up it's like a dalet backwards, and then Yud is the bris. You see mamish, how everything we started to share to show how the Neshama and the guf, how everything is mamish, designed, sewn exactly the way it has to be. Mamish. This the Rabban Shalom. A little bit, just to taste a little bit of the guf and all these things. Now, what's interesting is that hold on one second. Like this. What's interesting is to go into Tfillen a little bit even more. It says in the Torah that Moshe Rabbeinu asked Hashem a shel. It's gemara and brachas. Ask Hashem, why is it good for a tzaddik? Why is it bad for a tzaddik in this world? And for a rosh, he's enjoying life. So the Rebbeinu answered, you only saw the back of me and not the front of me. My height, what's the difference? What's going on over here? So the Gemara says that the Rebbeinu showed Moshe Rabbeinu the back, the kesher, the knot of the Tfilin. But how does that answer? What does that have to do with the question? Tzaddik, that's the answer. He said before that the way the spheres are set up, Keter, Chochma, Bina, all that, the right side is Chesed, left side is Gvura. That's what he said. If you ever realized, what did Hashem do? What did Hashem do? Teferes, put it together, mixed together. If you look at the kesher in the back of the retzuas, of the straps, what's the kesher? It's tied together. The good is the left and the right. Now, what does that mean? That means when the Rebbeinu Shalom created the world, he created the world a mix of din and chesed together. He said. The Gemara says, and Chazal says, when Moshe Rabbeinu asked Hashem, at that time Hashem taught Moshe Rabbeinu the inning of Gilgulim, that there's a tzaddik now, but in a previous generation there was a thing that he did bad, and he has to be metaken. So that is the shiloh of the chesed and the gvura together, to be metaken something, but it's really a chesed because in the back, quote unquote, is the good, the panini is the good. That's the ritzu in the back, the kesher, the mix together is the chesed and gvura together. But that was the back Moshe Rabbeinu saw. Rabban Hashem said with the front you don't. But when the ritzu comes to the front, they're separate. There's the right side of the ritzu, and there's the left side of the ritzu. We know that the right side is supposed to be longer, because chesed is supposed to be longer always. That is the pshat tefillin. And this tefillin that we put on, we're just taking one. Every mitzvah we can go through all this depth of all this Kabbalah, how each mitzvah corresponds to the body, and each aver, each limb, and all these things, spheres, and all these things. This year we just wanted to show how the Neshama and the guf, but you see how the tefillin is ak, and the tefillin has the four, and the tefillin is exactly connected to moyach, and the tefillin is the sustenance, just like the ear is a sustenance. Besides, we said you need the food, and the Neshama needs to get its upstairs, it needs also down here. How do we tap into the Neshama? By tefillin. Because if we understand what tefillin is, and what tefillin does, that it gives us sustenance, because the tefillin attaches to Olam Ha'ak, it attaches the Olam, the Orient Sof, because it's tefillin, it's the Ak, and it also puts the Chesed and Gvura together, which gives the sustenance to the world, and it gives the Moyach and the Lev and all these things. That's how you tap into the Neshama. By starting to understand, we said that the first thing is to know what it represents, then to work on it, and to daven to Hashem, help me. But just to show something incredible, there was a scientist, a tremendous scientist who was non-religious Jew, that he heard about Tfillen, and he heard about this thing about how Tfillen, he must have heard it from a shir or something, and he was not a scientist in this thing, but he was a tremendous professor of science, and he went to a university here in Israel, and there's a machine there that they acquired, that it's a known thing now, but then it wasn't, it first just came out. The machine, what it is it can see the aura of a person. Now, people may not believe it, but scientists see it and believe it and say it's real. So if you want to believe the world's around, just like that, you should believe in this. But the point is, it's a real thing, and it's proven. It's proven that it's a real thing. Now, he decided that he wants to see if it's real. That Tfilin really gives that energy that physical energy, meaning, I'm sorry, the ruchnius energy, he wanted to see, does it affect what? So he did a study. He took himself and he took 13 other Jews, because non-Jews, he said he had to take Jews for this experiment. And what he did was he took these Jews and he put them on Tfillen, and before he took the Tfillen, he took the aura, and the regular aura is yellow, and there's different stages, but the lower stages. They put on Tfillen, the highest is purple. It's incredible. Everything that they saw after, from before to after, it went away. It's like it just went away. That aura of yellow, and it became purple. Non-religious people, not people sitting learning all day. Tfillen for 2 minutes. Then he thought to himself, no, it's good, but maybe it was because of itrakshut, because of such emotion that they're putting on tefillin, so maybe that's why it became purple. Meaning anything you do with tefillin, maybe that's what changed it. First of all, it sounds stupid because, it sounds stupid only because of one simple thing, because he probably had to force them, and I'm sure he did, he forced them to put on, so they probably weren't emotional, but he went to a dati yeshiva, and he went to a dati yeshiva here in Israel, right outside Yerushalayim, and he went to Bochum there. No, before that, I apologize. Before that, he went to a different place. He brought tefillin that were puzzle, and he put it on people, and nothing changed. So he saw there has to be something, but he said, I want to solve it, because if it's puzzle, then it doesn't change it. It's only because it only gets the ruchni, because we said, if the tefillin are kosher, so it's... Also, I just wanted to say, and where do we say that today, a mashal, a dugma to the tefillin, that the tefillin is like the machine that brings this or, while we're in the guf. This better, the higher or. Today, you know that just like mamash, the same thing. If I told you there's waves all over the world, right? Wouldn't believe me, you need a machine, right? There's a machine, and it showed, they see the waves through all these machines. They see the galim, the waves. They see brain waves, they see waves in the air, they can send messages, all these crazy things, all these unbelievable things. So, that's just another idea that you mamish could see something that you can't see, So he went to the yeshiva over there, and because somebody wanted to know, he also wanted to know a time factor, that when you do put on tefillin, how long do you have that it stays purple, the aura, because this ruchni comes in, and how long does it stay there till the next time? So he saw something incredible. He saw that, first of all, every bacher dati, and each one he didn't have to push to put on, so it wasn't itrakshut because of, I'm sorry, it wasn't because of itrakshut. He went to dati, and he put on tefillin, the puzzle tefillin on them, and there was no change. So he knew it wasn't itrakshut, because of itrakshut, so what's the difference? They don't know what they're putting on. Then he put on the real tefillin, and it did change, and each bacher changed. So he saw it was real that way. But then he wanted to know the time span. He saw that, how long it takes? He stayed there a whole day. He says until they wake up the next day, until they go to sleep. When they wake up, it's back yellow until they put on tefillin again. That's why we have to put on tefillin every single day. Is that incredible? His study showed that we have to put on tefillin every single day because we have to bring that back in. The arts of had the purple always, and then they could even go higher, obviously. But the interesting, so the question is, why on Shabbos, why don't we put on? Because on Shabbos, what did we just say? Tefillin is that machine, it's kilo, we're calling it a machine, the machshir, the kli that brings in the ruchni. What does it say? Why? Because tefillin attaches, because it's ice. It's a sign. It's like a treaty between us and Hashem. Just like the bris down there, everything has kedusha. So too, so what does the Shulchan Aruch say? What's the reason why we don't put on Shabbos? Because Shabbos has its own bris. Shabbos itself is its own machshir, so we don't need to put on, because we don't mix up ice, because you already have it. So you don't have to put on tefillin. Now that you don't have to, then it becomes osir already. There's no need for it. That's why, there's no need for it, because Shabbos alone is the machshir. Now, just to finish off this thing, so he saw that it was mamash the whole day it stayed with. Incredible. So there was a lady that asked, what about a lady, a woman? She doesn't put on tefillin. Where does she get this ruchni from? How does she get this ruchni? She doesn't have tefillin. So Shabbos is okay. Ben Ishchai talks about Shabbos. Ben Ishchai says on Shabbos, somebody who does one perek Tehillim, it's like 1,000 perek Tehillim. One hour of learning is 1,000 hours of learning. Neshama Yisrael, what's Neshama Yisrael? We said Neshama Yisrael is not a second Neshama. We spoke about by Tchias HaMesim, where's the second Neshama going to attach to? He said it means another level of the Neshama. Neshama, we said it's five levels. But on Shabbos, it becomes attached. All the levels become into like one. It's much higher. But what about the rest of the week? So the lady had an unbelievable question. He's speaking about all the spheres. He's speaking about the guf. He's speaking about everything. So he said, "My neshama," she said, this is what I'm saying. The neshama, her neshama also goes up. So it gets that aura. But what about the aura on top of it, which is the mitzvahs? That's the highest. And she also, also she's made up the the spheres. And we said she's the left side. We explained that. But tachlis, how does she get this second type of nutrient, of sustenance? She doesn't put on tefillin. So what this person did actually was, he did a test. And I'm going to bring a riot to what he did. He took a telephone book and he put it in the hands of a woman, and he started doing this with the machine, and it stayed the same aura, the same light. Put a Tfillen inside her hand. She said one picadon and she became purple. What are we trying to say here? It's not just Tfillen. Every mitzvah, everything we do, Yiddishkeit. Forget about it. We're just talking about the aura over here. So of course, because we said this world's just a copy of the world's higher world. So everything we do here has an effect on the higher worlds that builds worlds that we can't imagine. But even in this world, how amazing it is that the Tfilin and mitzvahs and all they're all kelim to get the aura of Hashem for the Neshama, which is the food of the Neshama. Unbelievable mitzvahs. But I wanted to just say, do you know where it comes from? Comes from the Rebbe Nachman talks about it, and Ramchal also talks about it. And Derech Hashem. Torah, there's two things of Torah. There's two things of Torah. There's thinking in Torah, and there's talking in Torah. You always hear people say, learn, say the words. Because saying the words, holy words, have a huge impact. Forget about in the Olam Adibur, you're creating worlds up there, but even in this world, you have tremendous impact. Rav Nachman says, you know what Rav Nachman says? Rav Nachman asks a beautiful question. He says, when we do a Sefirot, we talk to Rabban Shalom in the fields, why do we talk to Rabban Shalom in the fields? Think! Rabban Shalom knows what we're thinking anyways. So to Rav Nachman, we need a deep work, because we need to build vessels that can contain the aura of Hashem. And that's what the Ramchal is saying also. I attached the Ramchal, I brought the Ramchal, Rav Nachman, they're saying the same thing. And the Ramchal also says, in order to get the aura, you need the aura to get into the moyach, the aura into the lev, you need the maisa, the kelim, which is that, and also his tefillin, all these things. So a woman has tefillin, the man has tefillin, and each person, we said the lady doesn't need as much as the man because the lady is on a higher level than the man. In Kabbalah, the woman is much more mushlemet when she comes down, so she needs less mitzvahs. So the man has to do more, put on tefillin, all these things, because he needs to get more aura to be mitaken himself. But the idea is, you mamish see that the guf and the neshama, it's all just one big copy of the next thing. It's all the way the guf is built, and the guf is its own world, and they both need the exact food, and each thing is exactly, and you see how even in physical things like the phone, you see exactly has to do with the neshama. And you mamish see, but the Indian of Dibur, you might, what is it? Let's just give you an example what the Torah does, because we're talking about what the koyach of the Torah. Rabbi Ori Zohar, I heard him give him once a share, and he said the reason why he really pulled him to tshuva was, in the beginning, that really bored him. He already started, but what brought him all the way was that one day his son, after his son was in the public school over here in Israel, he went to yeshiva. And one day his son came home from yeshiva, he was sitting down eating, and Rabbi Ori walked into the room, and the second he walked in, the child stood up, and waited for his father to come closer, and waited for his father to sit down, and he sat down. And he said to himself, he said, it's Torah. There's nothing to talk about. This is the koyach of the Torah. The Torah, until all these things bring in the or, and the or turns the person. It's not the musr. That's what I'm saying. It's not the musr of the Torah that turns the person. The Torah itself is a koyach to change the mahos, the patterns of a person, everything. Because what we just said, it's the machine, it's the machshir to bring in this or ruchni, which is for the better, is to put the person in a better place. There's a story also, a famous story about that a friend of mine told me. There's a story that he knows somebody that his wife, at the beginning of tshuva, his wife was anti. She had no interest, and he had to, you know how he said he was going to play tennis, and he went to shiurim instead because he couldn't tell her. Then finally, in the end, it worked out, and they asked him, why? He said, I'll tell you the truth. I came home, and my wife started saying, go, it's okay, I know you're going to shiurim, go. I asked her why. She said, you became a husband, you became a father. So whatever you do, you just continue doing. And in the end, they did tshuva. Because that's Torah. Torah is not just musr. There's a lot of musr in the world. People learn Buddhism, lahavdil. Torah is not just a learning philosophy, musr. Torah is koyach a ruchni that brings the energies, which we're saying energies, not energies of meditation, energies of ruchni for the neshama. It's food for the soul. And so when a person is looking for the food for his soul, what is he doing? He's looking just to come back to learning Torah and doing mitzvahs and doing this, because that physically and mentally and spiritually changes the person, because we said it changes the aura of the person, it changes the spiritual. And you know what? And that's why people start learning Torah, they sleep less. It's a fact. People are really getting to learn. You see, I'm sleeping and I'm learning late at night, and they're not tired, a lot of people. Well, these tzaddikim, I was up for 2 days. How'd they do it? We just said, because the neshama needs 2 things. It has to go up and get to sleep, because it needs, what is it? It's not the guf needs sleep, it's the neshama needs sleep. But if you're filling up the void with a lot more from the higher or, so the lesser or, you don't need as much. But a person, the more you get, the more you break away, And we said also, because the R can come down over here without sleep. Because what's the point of sleeping all these things? Because it's the guf can't be with the neshama. At the same time, destroy the guf, but they don't have a guf, the tzaddikim. Because they're mafata the guf, they use the guf just for the ruchni. Because you know what it is? It's not what the Yevonim did, and the Buddhism and all that. That what stay away. It's either you go and become a behemoth, you're an animal, you do all your taivas, or you go to the field and become a philosopher. It's either that or that. In Judaism, we're not kitzonim. It's not this way, that way. It's a mix, we said. It's chesed and gevurah together. It's taking teferes. It's going to the field and bringing your musician and your music and chilling in the field and singing for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's eating a steak, making a bracha on the steak and saying, Hashem, I know you made this food and you want me to enjoy this. And you eat it in a certain proper way. And I'm not saying eat it every single day, but everything has its limit. But not, oh, no, I'm not going to eat, or I'm going to eat everything. That's not Yiddishkeit. And that's the Koich HaTorah. Koich HaTorah gives you that balance. And that's Hispoidus, and that's all that. And you see Mamish, what we just spoke about, that the Neshama is built on the spheres, and so is the Guf. It's unbelievable. Everything comes down to one thing. To attach ourselves to the Eibishter through every single thing that we're going through. There's nothing else. There's only getting close to Rebbeinu Shalom, and we get through with Guf and the Neshama, because it's all one copy after copy of the higher worlds. Because we just proved it all, that everything is set up exactly like the spheres, and everything is set up exactly in the way that we need the Torah and the Mitzvot to give us this koyach, this koyach haruchni. And Bezat Hashem, like all this Kabbalah and everything, Kabbalah is all beautiful to know, but if it just stays Kabbalah, that's not good enough. Giving and accepting. It's accepting it and using it. But we have to understand, the first thing is to know how to use it. To understand, when we put on Tfillen next time, what we're doing, just 1 mitzvah Tfillen, forget about tzitzit, we go into each thing and speaking words. The words have such a koyach, like the Rebbe says, it creates the kelim. We see over here that the woman gets her aura, changes it from one parak of Tehillim. How we shouldn't forfeit one thing. One person wakes up 6 o'clock in the afternoon, put on Tfilin then. Don't say forget it, because when he puts on Tfilin then 6 in the afternoon, that's when he'll connect to the four worlds with Ak into the Or Ein Sof. The Rebbeinu Shalom is above time. It's not that he's open 5 hours a day, they put on Tfilin these 5 hours. Forget it, you can't get the Or after. The Rebbeinu Shalom wants to give us the Or always. And the Rebbeinu Shalom wants to give us Or through everything, because the point of this world is to take the Chomer, to take what Hashem gave us, the Guf, and to bring and elevate it through the Neshama. Because that's Tferes, and that's the mix of Chesed and Gevurah together. And that is the one Neshama, because Chesed and Gevurah is one Neshama, because it's the lady and man together. They both complete each other, because that's the point of the world. To bring the Chesed and Gevurah together in order to serve the Rebbeinu Shalom. And that's when the Tikkun really starts. So boys start getting hitched, you know what I'm saying? Let's go. But the point is, but Mamish, it's because she brings on the Shefar from that, and you bring this. Everything is. This whole share is just to show how everything in Yiddishkeit shows how everything in this world makes sense. There's certain things obviously way above, but that we're talking about things that your average person doesn't know exists. And it's just incredible to take a moment and stop and look at it. Notice our body, why is this, why is that? Not in a philosophical way, based on Ruchni, based on a Torah. And Rebbeinu Shalom, Bezat Hashem, should give us the koiches to continue. And mamish poilois, that we should tap into the mitzvahs to give us this Ruchni, and believe in it. And the more we believe in it, and the more we tap into it, we'll see it, and we'll see it more and more and more, until we'll Zoicha Bezat Hashem to mamish become part of it, and we should walk into Mashiach ready, feeling the Or Mashiach before Mashiach.